नमः पादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम
Hare
हरे राम
Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
In our last session, what we discussed, anyone would like to summarize? Would like to share?
The biggest takeaway was that why do we work? And that was because for Atma Shuddhi, for our own purification, we work here. We've had done so many under the path that in birth that we have, we are working so that we can purify ourselves of those anarthas.
We last what you mentioned. Can you please repeat?
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yeah, audible.
I was saying that we learned that why we are here, why do we work? We work for Atma Shuddhi, for our own purification and cleansing of all the past anarthas. And we also learned that how can we continue to disassociate ourselves from the fruitive actions so that we can continue our cleansing journey.
Yes. So, especially why we work is not referring to we, but referring for the yogis who are known as Nishkam Karma Yogi. Nishkam Karma Yogis are those who simply perform work or any sort of activity simply for the sake of doing. In return, they are not expecting anything. Just like when we work, in return something is expected. Suppose even though we are doing chanting many a times, in return we expect certain thing in the sense it should give me pleasure, right? I should be happy after doing the chanting. If chanting is not giving pleasure or not giving happiness, then over a period of time we lose the taste. Whereas our mind or our motto of doing chanting should be, we are doing the chanting for the pleasure of the Lord. That should be our motto of doing any activity. That is known as Nishkam Karma Yogi. Such people are known as Nishkam Karma Yogi. In return, they don't want anything, but whatever they want to do for the pleasure of Krishna. Such person is known as Nishkam Karma Yogi. So why they do? They do simply for their self purification, Atma Shuddhaye. For their purification, they perform work. They have no other motto of doing or performing any work. Whatever, even though they are eating is going to purify their existence. Sleeping is going to purify their existence. If they are traveling, that is going to purify their existence. If they are speaking, that is going to purify their existence. So, whatever work they are going to perform is going to purify their existence. If that work is not going to purify their existence, they are not at all interested in performing such work. They are not at all performing such work. Whether that work may look in the general mass of people, it may look like, oh, this work you must do. This work you must do. Suppose there are certain rituals are there. Those who are karma kandis, they perform such rituals to gain something in return. Over a period of time, certain rituals become very famous or in the society, famous in the society. So Nishkam Karma Yogi is not even interested to perform such rituals also. He is not interested to perform such rituals also. Because His only interest is for self-purification and for the pleasure of the Lord. By doing such work, Krishna is mentioning in the verse number 12 that they attain unadulterated peace. They attain unadulterated peace, and by attaining such peace, what happens? They are always happy. They're free from all sort of anxiety. They're free from all sort of anxiety, and they does not get entangled further into this material existence. So now we will read verse number 13. We'll take up verse number 13. So all of you please join in chanting the shloka. Sarva karmani manasa sannyasyasते sukham vasi
सुखं
navadvare pure dehi neva kurvanna karayan. Anyone would like to chant this shloka?
सर्वाणि मनसा संन्यस्ते वसि नवतारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्.
Anyone else?
सर्वकर्माणि मनसा संन्यस्यास्ते सुखं वशी तवद्वारे पुरे देहि नवे कुर्वन् कारयन्.
Wonderful. Anyone else? Anyone else would like to chant?
सर्वे कर्माणि मनसा सन्न्यस्ते सुखं वसि नवे द्वारे पूरदेहि नवे कुराणं न कराणि.
Anyone else?
सर्वकर्माणि मानसा सन्न्यास्यस्ते सुखं वसि नवद्वारे पुरे देहि नैव कुर्वन्न कारयन्.
Wonderful. Anyone else? We'll read the translation. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. So here Krishna has mentioned very nicely, explained the body in the form of Navadvare Pure Dehi. Pure means, Pure refers to a city or a kingdom which is fortified. It is, having a border. It is having a border. So such city is known as Puri. Earlier, if you would have visited like in Jaipur, Jaipur is having a border. It is a fortified city. Like that, king used to build a city which is fortified in such a way that enemies or no one else can enter into the city. So to make them enter, if somebody has to enter or go outside the city into the forest or near around agricultural fields or so there are certain gates are there which permits a person to go out or come into the city. Come into the city. Just like next week we are going to Srirangam. So there, if you see in Srirangam, that entire temple is like a city. So in that, there is a complete border is there, and they are on 4 sides. There are 4 entry gates are there: north, east, west, and south. Those gates are there by which you can enter into the temple. So same way, in this body, Dehi means soul. In this body, this soul is Atma is residing. Soul is residing, which is having 9 gates. What are those 9 gates? Anyone would like to share?
Yes.
Names of 9 gates? Yes.
Two
There
eyes,
would be 7
seals,
gates on the face and 2 gates below the body, the below portion of the body.
2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, 1 mouth. Total 7. One our rectum and one is genital. So there are 9 gates are there, in which this is Navadware Pure Dehi. So soul is residing in this Puri, in this city which is having 9 gates. So that is what Krishna is mentioning. So here Krishna is going to explain how such Nishkam Karma Yogi he acts. How he is going to act, that is what Krishna is going to explain in this verse. So when this embodied living being controls his nature, if we see by default the nature of the conditioned living entity or the jiva or the soul, by default the nature is what in this material world is to be the enjoyer. What does that mean is everything should be there for my pleasure. If I have seen something nice eatable item, this eatable item should be there for my pleasure. I should get it. If I have seen some beautiful form or some flower, it should be there for me. I should use that flower to decorate my own self. If there is a nice fragrance is there or perfume is there, I should utilize that perfume so that I become fragrant person in the room. So like that, whatever we see, the nature of the living entity in this material world is to be the enjoyer, to be the controller, to be the Lord of everything. That is the basic nature of the living entity. So what this Nishkam Karma Yogi does, he does not bother for this his nature. Nature of what? To be the enjoyer. He keeps aside that nature and try to adopt his real ego or real nature. What is that real nature? What is that spiritual nature? To be the servant of Krishna. Jivere Sarup Hoye Tera Krishna Das. That he adopts. And for that he renounces all the actions. Even though he is performing actions materially, but result and reaction he is not at all bothered. He is least bothered about the results and reaction for the action he is performing. So he renounces all the action. How? By renouncing their reactions. He resides happily. By doing this, what happens? He resides happily in the city of 9 gates. Whether he may be the king or he may be the poorest person, but he is self-satisfied, he is happy within himself. Such is the example of a person. His description, Krishna himself is narrating about such person. He is known as Brahmana of Avanti. There was Avantika Brahmana. So that Brahmana, he was staying in a city by name Avanti. He was, trading or was into the business. Even though he is a Brahmana, but he is into the business, and he is very greedy Brahmana. Always conscious, always thinking of money. How I can accumulate more and more money. This is what is going on is in his mind, day and night. To the extent he is not at all bothered about the basic necessities or the requirements of his family members. He is neglecting all their basic necessities or the requirements. Suppose his child wants to eat something, he, rather than giving entire, suppose a child wants to eat, there was a particularly it was mentioned about a corn cob, no? So it was mentioned child wanted to have a corn cob. So rather than giving entire corn cob, he gave just few corns out of the cob. He removed a few corns and gave to the child, his child. So that kind of miser person he was. Always want to accumulate more and more money. Over a period of time, seeing his nature, his the people who were working under him, they left. His godown got fire, and his family members also left. At the end of the day, he remained a poor person. He came onto the road. He was like, he had a huge Bulgari at his place. All these things happened, and he became a poor person. When he became poor person, he is roaming here and there. Now he is not having anything. So he is in complete moroseness. He is quite sad. But when he met a sadhu, and from this sadhu he understood that by chanting the holy name of the Lord, that there can be some auspiciousness into his life. It can bring some good fortune. So he started chanting the holy name of the Lord. As soon as he started chanting the holy name of the Lord, gradually he became unaffected of the exterior or external things that are going around him. He became unaffected of that. None of those things are affecting him. Now he is begging, and on the begging he is surviving himself. Sometimes people, they are just because he was very miser person, so all the people in the village, in that city, they were aware of this person, this Brahmana. So none of such persons also came forward to help him. When he goes for begging, they just shun away. They just, try to save themselves from this miser Brahmana. They don't want to give anything in the charity. So he is not getting anything in the charity also. But he was completely satisfied within himself. Once he was sleeping, so one person came and passed the urine onto him. Still he was satisfied within himself. He didn't complain. So such the qualification or character of a person who is Nishkam Karma Yogi is unaffected by the external situations, objects, people around him. They are completely, such person is completely surrendered to Krishna and completely acting on that spiritual platform. He is not at all worried or bothered about such external factors. One of such example is again Sudama. Sudama is also one such example. Even though he was a poor person, had nothing with him, but still he is satisfied. He is living happily within the city of 9 gates. There is one more such example is of Pandavas. Pandavas, when they lost everything, still they were happy. When they gained everything, still they were happy, because always Krishna was the center of their life. Always their life were centered around Krishna. They were working for the pleasure of Krishna. So like that, when a person, he simply acts, controls his nature means he is not acting for material things, but for the pleasure of Krishna. He is completely working for pleasure of Krishna. So such person attains the happiness. So we'll read the purport. The embodied soul lives in the city of 9 gates. The activities of the body or the figurative city of body are conducted automatically by the particular modes of nature. So particular mode of nature, based on that, this body is acting. Suppose in the morning is completely filled with Sato Guna. So our body is also, if Our karma is like that. That satoguna and body is also in satoguna. So body will act in that particular way. It will do certain good activities, pious activities, religious activities, or spiritual activities. But suppose morning is filled with satoguna, but we are in tamoguna, we are sleeping, or we are not aware what is happening around us. We are so much absorbed in sleeping and all those things. So body will act in that particular way, will yield particular kind of reaction to it. So such person, Nishkam Karma Yogi, even though morning is filled with satoguna, he is in tamoguna, but he will try to act against his nature, and he will try to align himself in satoguna, because by doing so he will engage himself in spiritual activities, in Krishna conscious activities for the pleasure of Krishna, because morning time is very, very conducive for Krishna conscious activities. The soul, although subjecting himself to the conditions of the body, can be beyond those conditions if he so desires. Soul, just like we discussed, soul or that body, as per the law of karma, suppose in the morning time, that time is in tamoguna, but by the power of our tapas shakti, by the power of our will, by the power of spiritual power that we have gained over a period of time, we can go against law of nature or law of karma also, and we can act, even though we are in tamoguna, we can act completely on the platform of satoguna if soul desires. For that, soul need to have that level of tapas shakti also. Owning only to forgetfulness of his superior nature, he identifies with the material body and therefore suffers. What is the cause of our suffering? Or only cause of our suffering is we are forgetfulness. We are forgetful of Krishna. What is our superior nature? Superior nature is we are part and parcel of Krishna. Momevamsha jivaloke jiva bhuta sanatana. That is our superior nature, that we are the part and parcel of Krishna. But we forget that. Then when we forget that, then we will be suffering. Suppose you are the head of the state. You are the king. Out of some mental disorder, you forgot that you are a king. Then what will happen? You will be doing the activity like a madman or an ordinary person. You will be suffering. Whereas king, life is filled with royalty, luxury, comfort, all such things. But if you forget that I am the king, you will be simply suffering. So same way, forgetfulness of Krishna is the only reason for the suffering of the living entity. By Krishna consciousness, he can revive his real position and thus come out of his embodiment. Therefore, when one takes to Krishna consciousness, one can at once become completely aloof from bodily activities. In such a controlled life, in which his deliberations are changed, he lives happily within the city of 9 gates. So, how this suffering can be mitigated? This suffering can be mitigated by adopting our real nature. What is that real nature? We are the part and parcel of Krishna. So when we start acting, being part and parcel of Krishna, means performing Krishna conscious activity, we can revive our real position. And by reviving our real position, time will come when we are completely independent of the material activities. And in that way, our deliberations, means our activities, by default our activities are for material or for the sense gratification of the self, for material enjoyment, for this body, all these things. But our deliberations will change. Just like I ask all of you, like all of you are practicing Krishna consciousness at certain level. So what change you have seen in your own self after practicing Krishna consciousness for a time period? So anyone would like to share? Yes. Any change?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Prabhuji, a change in my life and towards Krishna consciousness is significant and can easily be measured. Prior coming to this sessions, I was on 40 mg blood pressure medicine. Today, by the grace of the God, I'm only at 20 mg. So if you want to quantify and understand what that means, I'm saving 20 mg, or in fact, I'm saving 3 months and 1 year of my life. I've decided to put this into Krishna consciousness by putting it very simple and sober, that putting all my actions and all my deeds to Krishna. The result, whether it is good or bad, is just a blessing of the Krishna, Lord Krishna, with his Icha or with his Kripa. That's it.
Anyone else?
I'm usually happy for no reason.
Okay. You
I used
can
to
get
crib a
yourself
lot.
tested also from psychiatrist. Hope you are.
Not my it's my psychiatrist. Yeah. I used to crib a lot, be worried about why God has given me some pain or some circumstances. But now I think I feel and I understand everything that it's the right thing for me to happen. So I have learned to accept and be happy all the time.
All right. Anyone else?
Prabhu, for me, I'll say I feel more at peace most of the time. And at the same time, when I do whatever work I do, I am not bothered about the results now anymore. I just remember Krishna and do it.
Oh, wonderful. Yes. Anyone else? So just like you were sharing, person's deliberation, how it changes. Earlier has a tendency, let me go to pub, let me go to disco, let me go here and there for party. But once we come into Krishna consciousness, we develop that relationship with Krishna. What happens is we want to go to such places which are related with Krishna, which are connected with Krishna, which are in relation with Krishna, rather than going to pub or some bar or some disco or such places. We want to spend time with Krishna. That is one such example. Our deliberations changes. Earlier we eat a lot of food which is in a way is not good, is not clean. But after coming in Krishna consciousness, our deliberation is what? We want to eat Krishna prasadam. We want to first offer it to Krishna and eat the food. So such ways our deliberations changes. The 9 gates are described as follows. What are those 9 gates? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is living within the body of the living entity, is the controller of all living entities all over the universe. Krishna is the Parameshwara. He is the Ishvara, he is the controller. The body consists of 9 gates, 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, the anus and the genital. The living entity in his condition stage identify himself with the body, but when he identifies with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord even while within the body. Very wonderful statement, last line especially. I'll mark this last line. And we'll read this and we'll understand this last line. Therefore, a Krishna conscious person is free from both the outer and the inner activity of the mental body. He is free from both the activities. Now here, this last line says, the living entity in his condition stage identify himself within the body, but when he identifies himself with the Lord within himself, he becomes just as free as the Lord, even while within the body. This is from Shvetastara Upanishad. So how we can understand this? When living entity in his condition stage, what is the condition stage? Example of condition stage is, suppose a hog is there or a pig is there. That hog or pig, you may try to give chappan bhog, you may try to give all palatable items, dishes, but hog or that pig will desire to eat stool or some such waste material. He don't want to eat samosas, kachoris, cake, all such things. He is not interested. He want to eat stool. What is that? This is what is conditioning it. We are acting or we are suffering, but we don't know that we are suffering. That is conditioning of the life. And in that conditioning, what happens? We identify ourselves to be the body, to be the product of this material world, to be the product of this material energy. We identify in that way. When we identify in that way, what happens? We get caught up into the bondage. We get bind into this material existence. But as soon as we identify ourselves with the Lord, with that Supreme Personality of Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, so what happens? We get free. Immediately we get free from everything, even though we are having the same body. Just like Narad Muni. Narad Muni, he can travel all across the universe, not only into the universe, he can go beyond the universe into the spiritual world also. Why? Because he is completely identifying himself with the Lord, that I am the part and parcel of Krishna, I am his Amsha, and he is acting completely on that spiritual platform. He has nothing to do with this material platform. He has complete understanding that I am the devotee and he is a pure devotee. Narad Muni, he is a pure devotee. So he is completely free to roam anywhere in the entire existence, whether it may be spiritual or maybe material existence. He can roam around. So that is the, in a way, benefit or advantage to identify ourselves with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the Lord. We'll move further to verse number 14. Na kartatvam na karmani lokasya srajati prabhu na karma phala samyogam swabhavastu pravartate. Here again Krishna is mentioning about swabhava tu pravartate. We'll read the translation. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by modes of material nature. All this is enacted by modes of material nature. We'll read the purport and understand more in detail. The living entity, as will be explained in the 7th chapter, is one in nature with the Supreme Lord, distinguished from matter, which is another nature called inferior of the Lord. Somehow, the superior nature, the living entity, has been in contact with the material nature since time immemorial. The temporary body or material dwelling place which he obtained is the cause of varieties of activities and their resultant reactions. Living in such an conditional atmosphere, one suffers the result of his activities of the body by identifying himself in ignorance with the body. So the same thing here, Prabhupada is explaining that we have discussed how the living entity, even though this living entity is part and parcel of Krishna, is having the same quality as that of the Supreme Lord Krishna, but still is afflicted by the inferior nature. What is the inferior nature of the Lord? Is this Prakriti, this material nature. He is afflicted with that inferior nature of the Lord, inferior energy of the Lord, that is Prakriti or this material existence. And since time immemorial, he is caught up in this material existence. So what happens? He identifies himself to be this body. And over a period of time, he is performing various activities, and in result, he is getting reactions under which he is sometimes enjoying, sometimes he is suffering. That is going on in a cycle. In a cycle, it is going. All that is because of ignorance, and because of which he is in distress, he is in suffering. He is in distress, he is in suffering. So I read further. It is ignorance acquired from time immemorial that is the cause of bodily suffering and distress. As soon as the living entity becomes aloof from the activities of the body, he becomes free from the reaction as well. As soon as the living entity is free from the aloof from the activities of the body, means what? This body, to maintain this body, we have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to, certain activities we have to perform to maintain this body. But how we can aloof ourselves from the activities of body? How it is possible? It is possible when we act for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. Then it is possible. Otherwise, it is not possible. The nature of this spirit soul or the Atma is to be active, to perform action. That is the nature. So this nature can be dovetailed by serving Krishna. Either you serve Maya or this material existence, or you serve Krishna. These are the two options. These are the two options. One has to render the service, either this or that. There is no midway, or there is no other way. Either this or either that. So, when we serve Krishna, so we get free from the reactions. Why? We get free from such reactions. It's because, just like, in a company, you are working for your boss, for the owner, for your boss. So whatever boss has asked you, do the work, you will simply perform the work, you will execute his order, you will execute that thing. Now tomorrow, some implications, some sort of problem is there. So immediately you can show that I have executed my order, I have acted as per my boss or as per my master's desire or as per his order. So you will not be prosecuted further. Who will be prosecuted? Your boss will be prosecuted. To whom you are reporting, he will be asked he will be held responsible for such action. If some of you might have been at such a position, or leading the team, or leading certain department, so you might have experienced such certain things in your life, that if you simply execute what your boss, or suppose you are there, you have asked your some employee, or the employee who is reporting to you, you have asked him to execute certain work, but that work is not happening as it's supposed to happen. He has done some the work that you have asked to do so and so work, but there were some miscalculations were there. Employee has executed as you have asked, but from your end you have given him wrong direction or wrong order. So tomorrow, if certain challenge is there, then you will be held responsible for that problem which has or the loss which company has incurred, right? So same way, when we act for the pleasure of Krishna, for Krishna will not get any reaction to it, will be free from the reaction. We'll read further. As long as he is in the city of body, he appears to be the master of it, but actually he is neither its proprietor nor controller of his activities, of his actions and reactions. He is simply in the midst of a material ocean, struggling for existence. The waves of ocean are tossing him. He has no control over them. His best solution is to get out of the water by transcendental Krishna consciousness. That alone will save him from all turmoil. So, last line very nicely Prabhupada has mentioned. We are all suffering in this material existence, in this material ocean which is filled with various struggles. Each and every point of your life, you go through struggle. When we study, there is a different kind of struggle is involved. When we have to get admitted into the college for higher studies, there is different kind of struggle students go through. They have to prepare for the entrance exam, and many times you must have heard that people or students specifically, they commit suicide. Just they are preparing, they have passed out the 12th exams, they have done all those things. When they are preparing for the entrance exam for medical or engineering, they get so much stressed, so much of struggle is there, they commit the suicide, they end up their life, right? Then after getting admitted into a college, they are not getting, when they pass out the college, they are not getting job. When they are not getting job, there is different kind of struggle is there to get financially stable. Lot of struggle, they go through a lot of struggle. It may, and it may take a number of years to get financially settled. It takes long time for some people. Struggle is there. After that, once they get financially little stable, they want to get married. Now in particular today's world, to get married is another struggle, where people are getting killed. Wife is killing husband, all such things are happening. So in married life, there is a struggle is there. Once you get kids, with kids there is a struggle. After getting kids, when they grow up, you struggle in their struggle. They are struggling, you are also struggling. If they are not getting good education, then also you are struggling. So from our birth till our death, there is a struggle is involved in this material world. Whatsoever we may try, even in fact in the womb of the mother, we are struggling. Suppose a worm bites us in the womb of the mother. Itching is there. Just like some mosquitoes bites you, you feel itching sensation. With your another hand, you can itch that place. But in the womb, you cannot do all these things. There's no such a space is there or liberty is there where you can move your hands and do itching and all those things. You have to tolerate that itching. You have to tolerate that itching. So from within the womb of the mother till our end of our life, always in this material world is filled with such struggles. Is filled with such struggles. So the solution is, anyways, struggle is there. So let me struggle for Krishna. So when we struggle for Krishna, you will see that struggle will help you to liberate. So like this, Prabhupada is mentioning, the waves of ocean are tossing the living entity. Just like if you get into the ocean, so sometimes those waves are going to the shore. Towards the shore it is going. In return also waves, when the waves returns also like that, there is a counter wave, counter wave. Like that always that waves are countering each other. So in that, living entity is always is tossing. Living entity is tossing into those waves of ocean. And he has no control over it. He cannot control those tossing or those waves. He cannot control. So what is the solution is to come out of the ocean, to come out of the water. That is the solution. That is the only solution to safeguard himself. Same way, the solution to save ourselves from the distress, from the struggle of this material existence is to come out of this material world, to go back to Godhead, to Vaikuntha, to that spiritual abode, the abode of Krishna. That is the only solution. But many a times what happens, we get so much busy or we get so much into the things to get settled into this material world, to make or to try to fix up those things. We get so much busy that our entire life, just like this, it passes away. Our entire life passes away. We try to fix up those things, but our entire life passes away. Our entire life passes away. So it is very, very important for a person to understand that being spirit soul, we have been encaged or entrapped in this material existence, and there are a lot of forces are acting upon us, which are impelling our jiva to act in a particular way, which will drag down the jiva back into this material world. But by practice of Krishna consciousness, by practicing activities which are in Krishna consciousness, we counter those nature or those forces of the nature to come out of this material existence. Just like to set up a satellite into this space, a rocket is required, and that rocket goes into the sky. So what that rocket does is, it goes with a very high velocity. With a very high velocity it goes. For that, lot of fuel is required, right? And once it crosses the atmosphere where there is no repulsion is there, there is no repulsion, there is no counter force is there, the requirement of the fuel is very minimal. Same way, currently our situation is like that of a rocket which is on this planet on this earth surface. Now we need a lot of fuel to counter those forces of this atmosphere, right? Atmosphere is filled with gravitational forces there. There is a force of various layers in the atmosphere. Atmospheric pressure is there. Because of that, there is a force is there, and there is a gravitational force is there. These two forces this rocket has to counter. Same way in our life, we have to counter the forces of this Maya or material energy. So initially, lot of fuel is required for the rocket to counter these forces. Once it crosses the atmosphere, it goes into that atmosphere, then we will see those that fuel is not required to counter such forces is not required. It's just very smoothly it is just going on. It is encircling, rotating, orbiting the earth. Same way, in our case, what is the fuel? What is the fuel? 100 rupees liter petrol is the fuel, or what is the fuel? Yes.
Krishna service. Krishna devotional service.
Devotional service. Anyone else?
Harinam.
Harinam. Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else? So in our case, the fuel is association of the devotees. Is the fuel for us. How? You know, especially in what form I am saying is reading the books which Prabhupada has written, like Bhagavad Gita, Krishna book is there, Bhagavatam is there. Such book when we read, we are directly not only touching Krishna, we are in direct association with Prabhupada. So Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite par. So Prabhupada, he is a pure devotee or a Vaishnava, is always having Krishna with himself. This is even Brahma says, Santa Sadev Hridayeshu Vilokayanti. Santa, a devotee or a sadhu, he is always carrying Krishna in his heart. Not some ordinary devotee. Actual devotee is always carrying Krishna in his heart. So when we take association of such devotees, so what happens? We can counter those forces which are acting upon us. We can counter such forces very easily. And by associating with such devotees, we start serving Krishna in various ways by chanting his holy name, by hearing about Krishna, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. We start, Shravanam means we start hearing about Krishna from such devotees, his holy name, his pastimes, his instructions. We start chanting his holy name, performing such devotional service. These are like the boosters. You know, in rocket also there are boosters. Fuel is there, booster is there. There are two things. Fuel is there, booster is there, or engine is there, which propels or which, makes the rocket to go into the sky. Same way in our life, fuel is what? Is association of the devotees. Engine is like devotional service. Engine is like the devotional service. So that's why sadhu sangha is very, 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 very important. In what way? Not just like sitting with some devotees and having just normal discussions. What is going around the world is that no, not that discussion about Krishna Katha, especially association of Prabhupada. There are instances where people they have seen Prabhupada, just they have seen Prabhupada has a glimpse glimpse of Prabhupada, and they have taken up Krishna consciousness. They have joined the ashram. They have become a full-time devotees. So, like that, that is the power of such devotees like Prabhupada, Narad Muni, such an exalted devotees. So we should try on daily basis to take association of Prabhupada by reading his books. This will help us to propel into the bhakti very smoothly, perform devotional service. Then you will experience the taste also while performing devotional service, while chanting, while doing any devotional service. You will experience certain kind of taste also. So that is the fuel in our case. So anyone has any question or anything to share or ask, please feel free to ask or share. Any questions? So anyone has any question or anything to share or ask? So we'll end here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki,
Jai.
Jai.
Radha ki,
Jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Babuji.
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.